hosted by Matt Richards.
Hosted by Matt Richards.
Trillion dollar tickers.
Watch the market unfold.
Trillion dollar tickers.
Turning data to gold. Trillion dollar tickers. Watch the market.
Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening. Wherever you're tuning in from around the globe. Peace, blessings, financial freedom. Peace, blessings, financial freedom. Peace, blessings, financial freedom. Welcome to the $1 Trillion Tickers broadcast. I'm your host, Matt Richards. We're kicking off a brand new month, and the market is already giving us plenty to talk about. SPX hit fresh all-time highs overnight, and so did the Dow. The Nasdaq 100 got within a few points of hitting the all-time high before selling off. At the same time, oil surged back above $90 a barrel. The VIX gapped up, and we do have some data coming out at 7 a.m. Do buyers use strong economic data to push the market to another record-setting session, or does higher oil, higher volatility, and a hot market finally trigger some profit taking? I track the headlines, the data, and the market levels so you don't have to. This show is for education and entertainment only. Always do your own research, but you could use this show as a foundation. Before we get into the charts, let's get into the mantra, and let's have our mindset on point. I deserve to be healthy. I deserve to be happy. I deserve the wealth that I'm building for me and my family. Riches and freedom, they come to our hands. I'm the master of all I command. My learning is limitless. My earnings are too. The more I discover, the more I can do. The stock market is a machine of design, and I have the power to make that wealth mine. I am capable. I am skilled. I am bold. Blessings on the journey as the vision unfolds. All right, now let's get into some of these numbers. Okay, so after SPX hit an all-time high at 4:40 a.m., it sold off to near pre-market lows, and then it's closer to pre-market lows than it is that all-time high right now. And then when it comes to the Nasdaq 100, it actually hit a pre-market high at 12:05 a.m. and sold off and been in a downtrend ever since. It did hit the pre-market low at 5:15 a.m. So, but we still are over 30,000. So that's great. The Dow Jones actually hit a all-time high today at 4:35 a.m. It sold off too, but it's nowhere near the pre-market low. It's about halfway in between the pre-market low and the all-time high, so that's great for the Dow. Okay, the Fear and Greed Index is at 59, so we're a lot closer to neutral than we are extreme greed. So that tells me, as far as the Fear and Greed Index, that we still got a lot more room to run. Okay, the VIX did gap up, so keep that in mind. It did bounce on the gap once at 4:40 a.m. All right, the 10-year Treasury yield note is 4.45%. So as long as that doesn't stay too elevated, we can continue to run in these tech and growth stocks. Gold is around $4,500 an ounce. Bitcoin is around $72,100. Okay, now we do have some data coming out, one red folder, one orange folder. We have ISM manufacturing PMI, and that gives us insight into manufacturing activity across the economy. And then we also have ISM manufacturing prices, which tells us whether inflation pressures are increasing or decreasing inside the supply chain. Both of those reports hit at 7 a.m., so do expect some volatility at 7 a.m. I don't know if you want to stay in a trade. If you are a day trader, you may want to wait until at least 5 minutes after that data drops. And you probably want to get out of your trade if you get in before 7 a.m. Okay, WTI crude is back over $90 a barrel. That comes following reports of U.S. military strikes on Iranian targets and continued geopolitical tensions in the Middle East. All right, Nvidia did have an event yesterday, and it's trading higher in the pre-market because Jensen Huang unveiled a new AI-focused personal computer chip developed with Microsoft. And when we get to the chart, you'll see Microsoft is also running here in the pre-market. Some related companies are seeing some sympathy strength like ARM Holdings, Hewlett Packard, IBM, and other AI infrastructure companies. This matters because it reinforces a trend we've been discussing on this show. AI is no longer just a chip story. It's a data center story, a server story, a memory story, a networking story, a power generation story. Every company helping build that infrastructure continues to benefit. Speaking of infrastructure, Dell was one of the biggest winners from last week's earnings cycle. All right, next, let's get into Robert Greene's daily law before we get into the charts. Okay, it's June 1st, a new month, new quarter, new half of the year. Title, Wear the Appropriate Mask. Daily law. Playing with appearances and mastering the arts of deception are among the aesthetic pleasures of life. They are also key components in the acquisition of power. Let me just read that again. Playing with appearances and mastering the arts of deception are among the aesthetic pleasures of life. They are also key components in the acquisition of power. Robert Greene reminds us that successful people understand how to adapt to different situations. They do not reveal every intention. They do not show every emotion. And they do not allow their entire strategy to be visible. Instead, they understand the whole role the moment requires and adjust accordingly. People often become trapped because they insist on reacting emotionally and revealing exactly what they think. The stronger approach is to remain composed, adaptable, and strategic. The less predictable you are, the more options you have. In long-term investing, long-term investors should understand that the market constantly changes. Different environments require different approaches. Sometimes growth leads, sometimes value leads, sometimes technology or energy leads. The investor who survives over decades is the investor who adapts rather than becoming emotionally attached to one narrative. The market does not reward stubbornness. It rewards flexibility. Stay focused on results, fundamentals, and changing conditions. For day traders, today's law may be even more important. Do not marry a bias. Do not fall in love with a position. Do not force a trade simply because it matched your expectations yesterday. Come into each trading session ready to react to what the market is actually doing. A good trader can be bullish at 6:45 a.m. and bearish at 7:05 a.m. because the data changed the landscape. The market does not care about your opinion. It only cares about price. Adaptability is power. Execution is power. Emotional control is power. Stay patient. Stay disciplined. Execution over emotion. Process over prediction. Peace, blessings, financial freedom. Now let's get into these charts, y'all. All right, let's check out SPX first. So this is the 5-minute chart. As you can see, we're a lot closer to the pre-market low than we are the all-time high that we hit earlier. This is the NAS 100. And as you can see, yes, we're a lot closer to the pre-market low than we are the all-time high and pre-market high. And here is the Dow. This is the all-time high up here, and it's been selling off ever since it hit that. And as you can see, the VIX gapped up overnight, and it bounced in the gap earlier. All right, let's Check out SPY. SPY currently in the pre-market. It's pushing pre-market lows right now. 757.73. To the downside support, we got the pre-market low 757.60. Followed by 756.85. 755.15. 754.70. To the upside resistance, it's very close to our 4-hour level right now at 757.80. And then we have the all-time high at 758.08. Then the pre-market high is 759.26, followed by a price discovery line 759.95, 761.56. Next, we got QQQ currently in the pre-market at 739.54, which is our 4-hour level. To the downside support, we got 738.97, 735.25, 734.10, 730.10. To the upside resistance, we got the all-time high from yesterday, 741.63. The pre-market high is 742.10. And in price discovery land, we got 744.80 and 748.65. Next, we got Nvidia currently in the pre-market at 216.04. To the downside support, we got 215, 214.30, which is the pre-market low. And we got Friday's low at 211.13. To the upside resistance, we got the pre-market high of 216.68. We got Friday's high at 217.86 and then 221. Next, we got TSM currently in the pre-market at 423.90. To the downside support, we got this previous swing high of 421.95. The pre-market low of 421.40. We got Friday's low of 417.25 and then 414.70. To the upside resistance, we got 427.60, the pre-market high of 428, and the all-time high of 430.55. Next, we got AVGO currently in the pre-market. It's in price discovery line at 454.70. Underneath that support, we got 451.40, which is the previous price discovery line level. Then we got the high of day on Friday, which is 448.90, and then the previous swing high at 442.36. To the upside resistance, we got our price discovery line off the weekly level here at 460.35, and that's actually in the area where the pre-market high kept on rejecting, which was 460.82. Above that, we got 473.50. Next, we got MU currently in the pre-market at $1,009. To the downside support, we got 991, which is the pre-market high, and we got Friday's high of 981, all the way down to Friday's low of 490.51. The upside resistance, we got the pre-market high of $1,026. We got the price discovery line level at 1,028, so that's right in that zone. Above that, we got 1,041 and then 1,078. Next, we got Google currently in the pre-market. This is showing a lot of weakness here in the pre-market for Google. It's a 376.70. The pre-market low is 376.41, followed by 373.89. And then we have this gap here that starts at 365.84. To the upside resistance, we got 378.46, followed by the pre-market high at 380.76, and then 385.24 and 388.25. Next, we got Apple currently in the pre-market. It's pushing pre-market highs up right now. 311.56 to the downside support. We got 309.55. We got the pre-market low of 309, followed by 305.85. To the upside resistance, we got 313.25, 315, which is the all-time high, and 318.78. Next, we got Microsoft currently in the pre-market at 464.86. The downside support, we got 462. We got the pre-market low of 455. We got 451. Excuse me. We got, it's actually in a gap right now. So the bottom of this gap is 442.57. Wow, Microsoft's running. The upside resistance, we got the pre-market high of 472.21, 473.15, and then the top of this gap is 478.04. Do have a weekly level here at 483.75. Amazon currently in the pre-market at 268.50. In the downside support, we got the pre-market low of 268, followed by 267.45, 265.70, and 262.05. To the upside resistance, we got 269.65. We got the pre-market high at 270.50, 274.75, and then the all-time high. Next, we got Meta Platforms currently in the pre-market at 635. To the downside support, we got the pre-market low, the 630.88, followed by 623.35, and the bottom of this gap at 620.85. Yes, Meta is still in the gap. The gap goes all the way up to 663. Resistance levels, we got the pre-market high at 637.37, followed by 643, 653.85. Next, we got Tesla currently in the pre-market at 429.85. To the downside support, we got the pre-market low of 428.88. We got Friday's low of 428.14, and a daily level of 426.10. To the upside resistance, we got the pre-market high of 432.26. Followed by 437.87 and 441.05. Next, we got Eli Lilly currently in the pre-market at $1,099.50. The downside support, we got 1,094, 1,089, and 1,080. To the upside resistance, we got the pre-market high of 1,100. 1107, 1116, and the high of Friday 1132. All right, thank y'all for tuning in. This is the Train Dollar Tickers broadcast. I'm your host, Matt Riches. Set those price alerts. I'll be back at the market check-in. I'm not doing the market open. I will be looking for some trades. Peace, blessings, financial freedom. Peace, blessings, financial freedom. Peace, blessings, financial freedom.